Emily, can you hear me?
I can now, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting of the Meridian Arts Commission together. Excuse me. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 2:35. The purpose of the Meridian Arts Commission is to develop, advance, and nurture all facets of the arts to enhance the quality of life for Meridian residents and its visitors. So with that, I'd like to do a roll call. Lizzie Taylor. Jessica Peters.
Here.
Natalie Schofield.
Here.
Bonnie Griffith here. Bobby Gayton.
Here.
Patrick O'Leary.
Here.
Jennifer Cavanass Williams. Thomas Vanucci. And Hannah Schofield. Okay, so first of all, let's welcome Hannah to the commission as the new youth commissioner. Welcome, Hannah. Tell us just quickly about what where you go to school and your focus and all about you in 2 minutes or less.
Hey, well, I go to Renaissance High School, so just down the road over here. I'm a junior this year, and I'm getting my Associate of Arts degree, which just started, and it's super stressful, but I love it. It's amazing. I'm a musician. I'm a violinist. I love art in general, and I'm really excited to be here. So, yeah.
Thank you. Welcome. All right, would like to ask for the adoption of the agenda. Could I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the agenda.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda has been adopted. Approval of the minutes from the August 11th meeting. We need to have a motion to approve those.
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the minutes from the August 11th, 2022 MAC meeting.
And can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? The minutes from the August 11th meeting have been approved. Next is the approval of the monthly financial statements that was attached, I believe, to our packet. So if we could have a motion to approve the financial statement.
Madam Chair, I move we approve the financial statement.
Can I have a second?
Aye, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? The financial statement has been approved. Item number 3 is under old business, recommending to the City Council the 2023 Initial Point Gallery Artists and Exhibits. I believe those were attached to our packet as well. So we need to have a motion to approve those minutes. I'm sorry, to approve the gallery artist and the exhibit list.
Madam Chair, I'd be happy to share those briefly if you'd like. And there is one small change due to one of the group people notified me that someone wasn't able to make it. So I'd like to ask for sort of a last minute approval on a new artist there.
Everybody like to see those? Let's go ahead and take a look at those.
These are the exhibits that are planned for 2023. Upcoming pretty soon for December and January is the Bosco exhibit. That's the Boise Open Studios Collective. And then Mountains to Meadows. These artists applied as a group. This is the one solo show. The subcommittee rated his work very high and he applied for a solo show. So this is the one planned for next year. The Treasure Valley Artist Alliance in April. The images there are from the Green exhibition, and this next year They would be yellow with the title Let the Sun Shine. Commissioner Taylor, did you say, was it Let the Sunshine In?
I believe it's let the sunshine in, or it could be let the sun shine in. Little difference there. I'll try to find out.
I'll double check on their application. The West Ada School District Show in May, which is an annual show. The Idaho Watercolor Society, they always do their annual show in June. The last several years, it's been at Boise State, but they applied and requested to show with us. This is the Back from Sequester Out and About show. And if you'll note, the artist Marilyn Henderson is unable to show. And so they've requested Dennis Hazlitt. If his work fits very well with the other ones, I don't know if anyone on the commission is familiar with his work, but that's the one change that I'd like to introduce. Then in August, the Plein Air Painters of Idaho, along with the 3D artist Stephanie Inman. People and Places group show in September. A group show in October. And again, we may have an artist who, due to health reasons, might not be able to show. That's Deanna Miller, in which case we would still work with the artists that are selected for the show, but have half of the gallery for Lisa Flowers Ross and half the gallery for Suzanne Desoleil. And then in November, an encaustic group show with our own Bonnie Griffith, and some Kathy Holzer also showed last year. Her work was really great. She took up half the gallery, and several artists from out of state. Let me know if you have any questions.
Madam Chair, I move we approve the exhibits and artists with the change Cassie mentioned for that one group show.
Madam Chair, I second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the 2023 Initial Point Gallery Artist and Exhibit has been approved and now recommended to the City Council for final approval. Item number 4 is an update on the MAPS ordinance amendment.
Madam Chair, so Cassie and I presented our proposal to City Council, I believe on August 16th. So I first presented, just talked about the history of the MAPS ordinance and why we felt that there should be a change made. So we proposed removing the cap. So when the ordinance was passed in 2015, it was allowed 50 cents per resident not to exceed $50,000, which was 100,000 residents, which in 2015 we had not yet reached. This year, I believe we're up to 123,000, something like that, residents. So we proposed to City Council removing the cap so that as the city continues to grow, funding for the Meridian Art and Public Spaces program will continue to grow in funding to match the demand in public art, the interest in public art, and the growth of the city. So we didn't have any questions from City Council. Everyone was very supportive. So the meeting that we were at was just I think an agenda setting meeting. And so they voted to add our proposal to the full City Council agenda. I think the following week or a couple weeks later. Cassie, I think you have the exact date of that. And they all voted to approve that amendment. So I think Cassie included the amendment in the packet so everyone could see. So our funding moving forward until a change is made is we'll still have 50 cents per resident, but there will be no cap. So that is great news. So I think this year, that means we get something like
66,000.
Great, even better. 66,000 for public art for this fiscal year. So, And I think that number will be adjusted. It's based on the Compass population estimates. So after they release those every year, then, we'll make the adjustment as needed. So, any questions?
So that's fantastic. Thanks for taking care of that and you guys running with that. So that's a big deal. Thank you so much. So I guess that's just an update. So we can move on to item number 5, which is the mural projects. Tully Skate Park unveiling ceremony and competition for November 12th. And the Unbound Library unveiling on November 10th. And the design stage for the Meridian pool. Cassie, do you want to speak to that or?
Happy to give some updates on that. So the Tully Skate Park and Unbound Library murals are both installed. They look great, and we have unveiling ceremonies planned for those. The one for Unbound is scheduled for after the November Arts Commission meeting. So hopefully that's fairly easy for most of you to get to. It's at 5:30. And the Tully Skate Park one is for that Saturday, and it's also in conjunction with a skate park or a skate competition hosted by Prestige Skate. And the pool one, I just received the designs for that, and the design review panel will be meeting next week to look over those designs. So lots of great positive things with those, and I hope everyone is able to attend those mural unveiling ceremonies.
And so with the unveiling, I would like to ask if somebody from the subcommittee would like to speak during the unveiling ceremonies. Jessica did that for when we had the mural unveiling at the bike store.
Yeah.
And that was really great. So since it's that subcommittee's baby, I'd like to offer that up to you rather than me rambling about.
Madam Chair, this is Bobby. Unfortunately, I will be out of town. Otherwise, I would accept to take on that role. I will also be absent for the November MAC meeting. So if anybody else is willing and wanting to step into that role, that'd be great.
Madam Chair, so Cassie already approached me and asked if I would speak at the unveilings. So I think we're all set for that.
Good. Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds great.
Madam Chair, I also just wanted to give a huge shout out to Commissioner Gaitan because he got a lift donated for the Unbound Library. So that's a huge savings to the artist. And he also acted as a host to Key Detail. Andre, I don't know if you wanted to say anything about your experience with that or anything, but do want to say I really appreciate that.
No, thank you, Cassie. I just think it's important that every time we are hosting or having anything to do with any artist that we always accommodate and we're ready to help out. And it was a pleasure to do that for Andre. And I stopped by a couple times to check out Miguel while he was painting. And yeah, little things like that matter. And I think if anytime we have an opportunity to do that when we are having any artist in town, that'd be a good thing. So that's all.
Thank you so much, Bobby. And that's great when you're an artist out there in an unknown world. It's great to have somebody come up and bring you a bottle of water or something. So thanks so much. Okay, number 6 is an update on the 5 Mile Creek Pathway Trail Hub public art project.
So the selection panel met for that today, and I'd like to request for the selection panel not to say anything about the specific artist at this point because no one has been notified. But if one of the people from that panel would like to talk about how that process went and any thoughts, that would be great.
Thank you. So under new business, I'd like to move items 7 and 8 to be along with number 10 and 11 in the reports. So I'm going to skip to item number 9, which is review and discuss and check in the Meridian Arts Commission subcommittees, purposes, goals, effectiveness, and efficacy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is just a sort of check-in with the subcommittees. It looks like Leslie is not here today. She's the chair of the Events and Outreach Subcommittee, but this is just a chance to kind of check in. How are the subcommittees doing? Are they meeting frequently enough or not frequently enough? Sort of how things are going. So maybe someone else from the subcommittee might talk. I did speak with Leslie about some of the things about the Events and Outreach Subcommittee, and I think and Bonnie spoke too. So about that one moving forward. So that's maybe the more complicated one. So maybe we start with one of the other ones first. Gallery.
Madam Chair and Commission, right now for the Initial Point Gallery, we meet bi-monthly. And I think so far that has been going well. We don't have too much to work on besides kind of maintenance with the gallery and upkeep unless we have changes to the schedule that we don't expect. But for now, I think that the bi-weekly schedule has been working. Bi-monthly, excuse me, not bi-weekly. That'd be more meetings. Bi-monthly. So yeah, for now, I think that's working for us and we'll evaluate if it needs to change.
Madam Chair, this is Bobby. In regards to the Public Art Subcommittee, we meet monthly, and it is, we can do a bi-monthly. However, I think it depends on our workload and our tasks that we have going on. Sometimes we're having to recommend and discuss and go over a particular artist at the time. And so with that, it's worth meeting monthly. But I know earlier this summer, a couple months ago, we didn't have a lot going on. So we ended up canceling that monthly meeting. So it kind of varies. I'm really open to what the subcommittee is interested in doing. We lost our student also, and so I'm not sure if we're backfilling that role, but if we are, I'd be interested to see what availability that we'll have on that student. Anna, if she decides on joining the subcommittee.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, I'd like to add that since the Public Art Subcommittee meeting and selection committee thing went so incredibly smoothly this morning that we actually got to say, no, we're not going to have another meeting of its type on, I believe, 4th of November. I'd like to have us be flexible and rather than scheduling, put it this way, have our meetings scheduled but cancelable rather than trying to schedule something. I know that on the option job, I'd like to have who I work for know that on certain days of the month I cannot work. So I'd like to say schedule them, but then unschedule as needed.
Thanks, Lizzie. I think that holds true with the, go back to the gallery committee, because I sometimes think that every other month is maybe overkill for the gallery committee for certain times of the year. But to go ahead and schedule those if that works in the realm of things, Cassie.
I think that works well. I think sometimes the committees have more to talk about and sometimes there's less. And so we've sort of, the committees are a little bit newer on the commission. In the last couple of years, it's not something they used to have. It used to just be when they were called for. So I think that seems like a good plan going forward, is to have them scheduled, but if there's not a lot of things going on, then sort of consolidate them to sort of maximize everyone's use of time and effectiveness of the subcommittees. So that maybe kind of brings us to the Events and Outreach Committee. We only have one person here on the commission that is part of that. The chair is actually not a commissioner. It's Leslie. She's been on the commission for a long time, but is not a commissioner currently. And Jennifer and Tom are absent. So I'll just, I will be a bit frank here with that one. That subcommittee I think could be restructured into, instead of being a regularly meeting subcommittee, that could be more of a planning committee for Concerts on Broadway and Art Week, which are its main focuses. But it could be one meeting to do a lot of the planning for each of those. And then the people that are interested in doing that can go on to it, because I think some of the people on the Events and Outreach Committee are less interested in one thing or another, and it's not the best use of everyone's time. And so that, instead of being a standing meeting, would change year to year depending on who's interested in planning and available for Art Week, because we had some commissioners who were not even there during Art Week. And then also a lot of the reporting in that sort of was reporting to the subcommittee and then again reporting to the Arts Commission. So Patrick, I'd like to hear your thoughts, since you're the person that's part of that subcommittee. No pressure.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, I think it's a fine idea. Because it is what the committee does, or in a sense, the events we oversee are so time specific, that it doesn't need to be all year round. And if we can get more people from the outside involved, that would be great. Because there's a lot more knowledge out there of people who've done it in the past than the people who are on the committee. And with losing Leslie, there's going to be a big gap there. So the more we can open it up, the better.
And I did want to add, Leslie is happy to be involved and would love to be consulted and still volunteer for some of the things that she has always done, which I think is also a use of her time that I think she's more interested in working that way.
That's great.
So any further discussion, concerns, questions? Let's move to the update. Well, first of all, I guess the recommendation to change the Initial Point Gallery opening receptions from the first Friday to the first Tuesday. With that would mean that the artists would deliver their work on Monday, and then the reception would be on Tuesday. And in years past, a long time ago, we did do the openings on Tuesday. However, the artists brought their work in the previous Friday. So that really, anybody that was out of town, that required them to stay. So that's why we went to the Friday openings. In hindsight, we could have just as soon moved the delivery date to the Monday, but anyway, we didn't. And, you know, and I think we also thought that the Fridays would be, you know, it's a weekend thing and it might be, but I think that this would work out well. There's an occasion where it's going to run into a holiday, but I think we can either do everything on on Tuesday or like we're doing right now, like Cassie's doing right now. So if that's, does that need to go to City Council?
It does not need to go to City Council.
Okay.
It's honestly a bit more of an administrative function. And I already have a couple of groups that have requested to have opening dates on other places. Specifically the Idaho Watercolor Society, just because their timeline is a bit different. And then July 4th is the first Tuesday, so we're not going to have one on July 4th.
Right. Okay. So if that's all good, then I guess we can move forward with that, Cassie, and change those dates for the 2023 schedule. And with that, if we could have the update for Initial Point Gallery report from Natalie. Oh, I was just going to carry into the, yeah.
Okay. Our last month, August, was the College of Western Idaho faculty exhibit. Jessica was our host. That was during Art Week. And currently we have a show called Radiant with Mary McInnes, Jeanette Millward, Hartini Gibson, and Melissa Raish. Patrick filled in for us at the last minute for hosting. So thank you, Patrick, very much. He said there was a little bit slow. There's about 30-ish people that came and checked out the opening reception on October 7th. Next month for November, we have Joyce Green, Joanne Leone, Ashley Quick, Julie Clemens, and Flynn Day Pottery. Bonnie is scheduled to be the host. And yeah, as Cassie and Madam Chair have already said, we're thinking of switching so we don't have so much competition on Friday nights. There's a lot of other art scene type things going on Fridays that we don't want to compete with. So hopefully we can draw some new people to come check out the gallery on our opening evenings and encourage our artists to market that a little bit more as well. That's all.
Thank you, Natalie. And let's scoot back to item number 8, which is to discuss the sidewalk poetry project and budget for development.
So this is potentially a new project. It was discussed in the subcommittee. Commissioner O'Leary brought it to my attention and to Commissioner Gaitan's attention. And hopefully you were able to read the memo and visit the website to get an idea of what they do in St. Paul. It's a really cool project. I did reach out to them, had some questions about logistics, but it turns out they are happy to consult, but they do charge a fee because they have lots of people asking them about the project. So it's $150 an hour. So the subcommittee, by a vote of 2 for it and 1 abstaining, is to ask for a budget of $300, which would give 2 hours of consulting to kind of pursue development of this project. So please let me know if you have more questions about what that project is or what that looks like, but it's sort of a poetry in the sidewalks project. And in St. Paul, they did it where when the sidewalk needed to be repaired, they would repair it and put these poetry pieces in there, which is really beautiful. It doesn't necessarily need to be repair projects for us, but there's a lot of questions about where would the poetry come from. It would probably be a call. Maybe we could work with the cabin or something on that. And also just about what kind of vendor did they use, because that's sort of an atypical use of concrete sidewalks.
It's a very cool idea. And I think it seems like that to be efficient, we would do a call to writers and then have a sort of the same thing that we do for the traffic box art, a repository of poems. So when there's a new sidewalk built, because it's pretty hard to retrofit something into concrete. So thank you, Cassie. Thanks, Patrick, for bringing that to the attention of the subcommittee.
Oh, my pleasure. When I saw it years ago, I just thought it was one of the coolest things and ideas of art and words I'd ever seen. So it's always stuck in my mind.
Right. So with that, let's do I guess it's a recap now of Art Week and concerts on Broadway.
So sorry, Madam Chair, to back up a little bit.
Or I'm missing number 9, right?
Well, the subcommittee was requesting a $300 budget, asking for approval for that.
So can I have a motion to approve of the $300 budget for that project?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve a budget of not to exceed $300 to pay for sort of investigation and development and consultation fees for this project.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, there's an approval of a budget to not exceed $300 for the sidewalk poetry project. So item number 12, I guess, an update. Number 10, the Public Arts Commission update.
Madam Chair, yes. A few of the items have already been discussed today and will also be discussed report that Cassandra will. And this sidewalk poetry is was just discussed. The traffic boxes, it's an ongoing discussion, as well as the public art planning. It's been an ongoing discussion. So we will last meeting it was just a lot of discussing, and there's the only thing that came up was the recommendation for the poetry project. So,
Thank you, Bobby. So on item number 12, Cassandra, would you like to do the recap on the Art Week and concerts on Broadway?
Sure, and I'm going to try to keep it a little bit brief. There was a document attached to the agenda that hopefully you all get a chance to look at, and many of you attended a lot of the activities, but in general, we had really great Art Week, a lot of events. The kickoff event was not very well attended. There were about 15 people, half of which were the band's family members. So that was, and there was also kind of like some smoky or some like thunderstorm warning. So that one was ended a bit early. And then the sidewalk, the chalk art, the sidewalk one was excellent, really good spirits. The band was great, high energy. That went really well. And on Friday night, the community art party, which last year was held in Kleiner Park, that's been sort of a developing project. It used to be part of the, what was it called? It was called something else, and it was sort of something that the special event coordinator did, but it's kind of moved into this, continuing to evolve. We had 7 or 8 vendors, lots of hands-on activities, pretty good participation. It was a great event. And then the Saturday event was kind of the final thing with the concert on Broadway, along with the Tammy DeVeard's Awards in the Arts, which went really well too. And and all of the concerts were good. We had a really good attendance this year. That one during Art Week was probably the best attended in particular. And in general, pretty good comments all around. So I'm going to open it up for any other comments. I'm going to look up, unless someone has the dates in front of them. What we're planning for next year is to continue to go with the dates that we've had in previous years, which is the Saturday before Labor Day for the first concert, and then the Saturday after Labor Day for the next concert, and then in 2 weeks, the final concert. And then for Art Week, sort of consolidating a lot of those events, the kickoff and chalk art and community art party into one piece on Saturday, and also moving it so that it is not the same weekend as Art in the Park in Boise. So pardon me while I look at my phone for a second so I can bring up those dates. And I did want to ask for some feedback from the commission, because I think Art Week could work really well as the concert on Broadway, either being the first event with the community art party and sidewalk being the following weekend, like the final event, or vice versa. That could be the first sort of event for Art Week, with the final concert on Broadway being the last event. So thoughts on that would be appreciated. And so the dates would be August 26th for the first concert, September 9th for the second concert, September 23rd for the final concert, and then the community art party sidewalk competition on the 16th. So that would mean Art Week would move a little bit off of Labor Day, which in some survey results, people kind of wanted that to move away from Labor Day a little bit and away from the art in the park. So Art Week could then be either the sort of starting on the 9th with the second concert and ending with the community art party on the 16th, or it could start on the 16th and then end with the final concert on the 23rd. September.
Do we know what day Labor Day is next year?
Labor Day next year is the 4th of September.
So the first concert is a full week before.
For Labor Day.
I think that that's really getting close either to the beginning of school or, maybe last minute travel plans for people. So I think that it might be better to consider Art Week as that middle of September.
So
To move
starting
it-
with the community art party as like the kickoff sort of event and then ending with the concert. Right, the 16th through the 23rd. And also a lot of the activities, so it would still be Art Week because there would still be lots of activities, the classes and drop-in activities, and a lot of the things that other people in businesses in the downtown host. But then most of the sort of community event efforts would be on that Saturday. But so we'd have things during the whole Art Week.
I think I agree with consolidating. I know for myself, I didn't end up coming to the kickoff, but then I did come to chalk art and then I wanted to come to the next day, but then I knew I was coming to the Saturday. So I think if we consolidate it, I think a lot of people maybe think along the same lines, having, just that one Saturday thing to do. And then if you want to drop in and do a class or whatever floats your boat, we might have more attendance just sticking to those weekend days. I think, do we need to decide on an Art Week today? Is that what we're?
We don't need to decide on it, but if it seems like it's moving that direction, I mean, that's kind of, I think the earlier planning, the better. One thing that I think was hard this year was things could have been advertised a lot sooner if they were sort of set in place sooner. And that's one goal for myself, is to really get things. And speaking of advertising, I also want to send out just a huge thank you to Lindsay, who's no longer with the city. Her position ended at the end of the fiscal year, September 30th, but Art Week and the concerts would not have been what they were without Lindsay. So really appreciate her. And Shelly Houston is our marketing coordinator in Parks and Rec, and she did a ton of work too. And Renee. So Shelly, did you want to say anything about marketing or Art Week?
Sorry to interrupt, Shelley. I don't think your mic is on for the Zoom
Your mic's not on.
people or me.
1, 2. Oh, check, check, 1, 2. Sibilance. We got it. Did you hear what I kind of was saying? Talking about, I've seen them all, and that we've got great momentum going, working to build on our strengths. I do agree on moving it away from that Labor Day weekend, because one of my favorite events that I participate in heavily is the art drop. And people are busy getting their little family vacations in, and they come home to piles of laundry and kids and dogs and trying to get everyone back in the family routine. So I think that kind of steals away from people having maybe time to plan on what they want to do in terms of attending Art Week or creating art for the art drop. So I like what I'm hearing. I would maybe have you check and see, do we lose much daylight as we move through September? It might be minimal. Just make sure we're not getting it dark so soon that it's gonna, we'll lose light on some of these events. But and we can get more creative on our marketing and communications. Like I said, some of these events that we tried this time that we liked, we've never really done before. So we didn't have many photos or video to work with. And now we do. So that'll help us in future years. So I'm just happy to be kind of an unofficial part of the team. And this is one of my favorite events of the year. And so anything I can do if you need to pick my brain or brainstorm ideas, I'm here for you.
And kudos to Shelley for the amazing photos. Most of the photos that you saw on any of the social media and also in the packet were taken by Shelley.
And Patrick got some great shots too. So anyhow, it was a pleasure, and it was really delightful this year. And so I can hardly wait for next time. Okay, so I'm here if you ever need me.
Thank you so much. You have anything else to add to that, Cassie?
One kind of interesting tidbit, I guess, that I did want to mention along with marketing. We did a little bit of a different creative marketing route, which was to use Instagram marketing to pay Hello Meridian. And that's so the probably most successful part of it, she actually donated. She didn't even, but there was a reel that she shared after the first concert, and that got 20,000 views. And at the second concert, Leslie kind of did a thing like, who heard about this from the radio ads? Who heard about this by show of hands? There was only a couple people that had heard about it from the radio, so might reconsider budget for the radio ads. But probably a third of the audience raised their hands for social media. People saw it through social media. So I think that was a more successful part of the marketing and a little bit atypical and something that we should continue for future years.
Yeah, I think it's great that there's been so much more information and postings on social media from the Arts Commission, and it's been good. And I think a lot of us share those with our tribe. And that's great. Well, great. I think it was I've not heard a negative thing about Art Week and any of the activities. So thank you all for whatever anybody did for the events.
Madam Chair, I just want to give some more kudos. I wish I could have attended more. I got sick that weekend. But I was a judge for the chalk art competition, and I've done that in previous years. And the vibe downtown, like, it was great to see so many artists doing their thing with the chalk art, and then having the live music and having the was it the Huckleberry Theater did the sort of performance. It just felt like a festival atmosphere kind of downtown. So that was the more we can sort of create that vibe, I think the more successful Art Week is going to be, because in some years it's been kind of hit or miss, and or felt kind of sad, or not that many people there, and some things we can't help, like the weather. But the more that we can sort of combine things happening and have that sort of music while we've got other stuff going on, really adds to the atmosphere there. So kudos to everyone who put on Art Week. You guys did a great job.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay, item number 13 is an update from the Arts and Culture Coordinator, your monthly report, Cassandra.
So I sometimes have like a PowerPoint and things, but honestly, I think pretty much everything that I would have to say got covered in this meeting. So I just want to reiterate, get those events on your calendar for the mural unveilings, please. And I also wanted to mention, because I received an email from the Idaho Commission on the Arts today that gave out the governor's awards for the arts. I just wanted to mention that Autumn Kersey was, many of you know, is the Treasure Valley Children's Theater Director, and she received the Excellence in Arts Administration. And Stephanie Inman, who you might know from some public art projects around town, was one of, I think there were 3 or 4 kind of in different categories for excellence in visual arts, was also awarded. And then there was another excellence in arts access. So some of you may know Megan Brandell. She was at our meeting, I think in February, the Open Arms Dance Theater person who wanted to do something during Art Week, but it didn't work out, but hopefully she'll do something next year. So a lot of great people associated with Meridian that were awarded.
Okay. Well, with that, our next meeting is scheduled for November 10th. And if there's nothing else, I would call for an adjournment.
Let me say a quick something else. Everybody, please check out the fabulous show at the Riverside. It's Opus 2022. It was a juried show from TVAA. It's absolutely excellent. And I have 2 pieces in it.
Well, great. Congratulations, Lizzie.
Lizzie, I
So-
was going to ask you, how long is that there?
It runs, I believe, through either the 29th or 30th of November.
Because another organization I work with is doing a concert there on the 6th. So if there are any artists that wanted to be around to talk with them, and we can push that on the Boise Jazz Society too. To let them know it's there, and if the artists want to be around to chat, it's a Sunday is when we do the concert.
I think information or data information of that nature needs to go through Sandra Davis, who is the arts coordinator person at the Riverside, whereas Linda Johnson used to be arts and the Sapphire Room and the jazz stuff. But I don't know that the Arts Commission, because we have nothing to do with the Riverside, can really put out that kind of information. I think that would have to come from Sandra Davis.
Great, thank you. And one other note, the Eagle Plein Air Festival is happening right now. And so, first of all, thank you for agreeing to come to the meeting early so I can get out of here and go do my quick finish for their auction piece. No pressure, no pressure. But the work will hang Saturday morning at Finer Frames in Eagle. And tomorrow there will be people painting out at Three Horse Ranch Winery, probably, and a lot of locations. There'll be people at Eagle Island and probably downtown, and there's people out painting every night under the light of the moon for the nocturnes. And so it's been a busy week. There's 70 some, almost 80 artists that are in town for this. So it's kind of a cool deal. And tonight's an open event at Rembrandt's. So it's a quick finish between 6 and 8. And then so I think we have an hour to finish our pieces and then frame them, and then a live auction. So, yep, so it's a busy week. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn and we will meet on November 10th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming and for doing all what you do.